Greetings, developers, and welcome to Serverless Migration Station, a mini series that's part of Serverless Expeditions. I'm Wesley, your conductor on these short trips. Joining me is Martin, who will help me help you navigate the world of modernizing your applications, and Porter, our little friend here, who will help you get from point A to point B.
Thanks, Wes. I'm happy to be here. What are these migrations and why should developers be interested?
I'm glad you asked, Martin. Well, our job is to help developers modernize their apps, to take advantage of new features and product upgrades, to move to a more modern release of their development language, and generally keep their apps running well to support theirs or their customers' needs. In each episode, our friend Porter here takes us on a short excursion to the next migration station. Each ride attempts to take the mystery out of common migrations that developers undergo when modernizing their apps.
Ah, I get it. We're helping developers take advantage of the latest innovations from Google Cloud. So, which migrations are we focusing on first,
I'm
Wes?
glad you asked, Martin. The first set of migrations we're going to tackle is for original Python App Engine users. Since its launch in 2008 as our first cloud product, we've continued to innovate and open the platform as well as introduce new products.
I'm familiar with Cloud Functions and Cloud Run. Are you saying users can run their App Engine code on those platforms too?
Yes, Martin. App Engine users have options. You can do nothing at all and stay on App Engine. You can modernize to the next generation App Engine service. You can break up larger apps into microservices for Cloud Functions, or you can containerize your app for Cloud Run. Using Docker is another way to stay on Python 2 forever for all of you hardcore folks. If you don't want to learn about Docker or containers, you can still containerize using build packs, but only Python 3 is supported. This series will cover most of these, but starts with helping you move to unbundled services.
I like that Google Cloud is embracing openness and helping make my apps more portable. But what's wrong with having the legacy App Engine services anyway?
Well, nothing at all, Martin. But while bundled services are convenient, App Engine isn't as open as it can be. For example, while Web App 2 is a great lightweight framework, moving to something more general like Flask allows your app to be more portable, meaning you can run your apps outside of App Engine if desired. By the way, if you don't use Flask, you can use any WSGI compliant framework that does its own routing. You can read more in the documentation. Also, many of App Engine's original services have matured to becoming their own standalone cloud products anyway, and it's really where all the new features are going. So migrating lets users take advantage of their continuing innovation.
Okay, I understand the tech implications, but before the main content, what can you say about cost?
Yes, it's true, Martin. Migration does involve regular usage, so analyze varying costs you may incur, like data store access, pricing of the new standalone cloud products, free tier quotas, and so on. In other words, don't go into it blindly and get surprised afterwards. For this reason, the tiny sample app used for the migrations should not incur any charges, but don't let its data store usage go out of control.
Watching videos is great, but I want to get my hands dirty. Where should I go, Wes?
All right, Martin. Well, except for this video, each migration module has an associated code lab, a self-paced free online tutorial to give you that hands-on. Users get both the starting and ending code, so you can reset back to the beginning or compare your answers with ours. While some migrations are strongly recommended, others are optional. It really depends on what makes sense for your app. If you need to start migrating today, several code labs have already been published, so there really is no reason to wait.
Hey, Wes, you mentioned you'll give us a sample app to migrate. Can you walk me through that starting sample so I can get an idea of what to expect?
Sure, I'm happy to, Martin. It's a simple Python 2 guestbook app using the Web App 2 framework. It records each page visit as a data store entity with the App Engine NDB client library. We're going to dive into the code, but let's pause so you can clone the repo or download the zip file. Okay, jump to the Module 0 code and let's go to the computer to walk through it now. Let's start with the application file main.py. The key imports bring in the Web App Web Framework plus its templating system and the App Engine NDB library to access data store. Next is a data model. For each web page visit, we'll autosave the timestamp as well as some visitor information, and that's it. Fairly basic. Store visit creates the entity with the visitor info we want to save, such as IP address and browser type or user agent, then writes it with a timestamp to data store. Yes, I know X forwarded 4 should be checked first and so on, but this is just a sample app, so grabbing the first thing that looks like an IP address rather than being thorough and correct. Fetch visits queries for the most recent visits, which will be displayed with the HTML template. For the primary handler, the app only supports HTTP GET, which is why it's the only implemented method. It registers the visit, queries for the 10 most recent visits to display, including the one just recorded, and then passes the data to the template to render. Finally, we have the routing table at the bottom. I think all Hello World app.yamls look like this, am I right? It's a Python 2.7 app where all routes go to app in main.py. The last file is a basic index template with some header info, then a for loop that displays the most recent visits. Okay, that's a quick walkthrough of the baseline sample app you can find in the Module 0 repo folder.
Thanks for the tour of the sample app, Wes. Now I know what we're starting with. A basic Python 2 app using the bundled App Engine services. By the way, is this series for all App Engine users?
Glad you asked, Martin. Nope, it's not for everyone. If you're a Python 3, Java 11, PHP 7, or Go 1.12 or newer App Engine user, you're already on the next generation service. This first set of migration modules is only for developers, consultants, IT decision makers, integration specialists, or any technical professional interested in bridging the gap between the first and second generation App Engine runtimes.
Thanks for helping users with these modernization resources. Do you have any roadmap on which videos we'll see first?
Well, thanks, Martin. As mentioned earlier, a starting set of codelabs is already available, so we'll be producing videos for them first. But if you're curious, here's a list of all the codelabs you can try now. There's no need to wait for a video if you need to get started today.
Thanks for the heads up of what content to expect. Are there any other resources that we can share today?
Oh, definitely, Martin. In addition to the migration modules, here are some links to the documentation describing our long-term support of these older runtimes, and more importantly, that page links to the migration guides for each of the legacy runtimes. Next is the repo for the samples in the docs, and finally, yet another repo with migration samples contributed by the community. We look forward to having you join us for the first leg on our migration journey as well as on other serverless expeditions. This is Wesley Chan on behalf of Martin and Porter saying ciao for now, but we'll see you at the next Serverless Migration Station.